Hello and welcome. You're watching a special show, India versus fake news. 40 CRPF jawans dead, and from that point on, it has been tough to decipher what is going to happen, what is happening, and what has happened in the immediate aftermath of that CRPF attack. The CRPF itself has said that fake news is in the air. Don't believe it. Today, we break down two particular aspects: how the CRPF fought and is still fighting fake news in the aftermath of Pulwama, and what is really the truth about whether or not Kashmiri students or Kashmiris have been harassed. To help us, we have Jency Jacob from Boom, a fact-checking website. Once again, Jency, thanks so much for being with us. Also, we are expecting Ankit Lal, who will be joining us. He has written a book on the impact of social media on elections. He's also worked with the Aam Aadmi Party, helping them to go ahead and win. But we also have a very interesting individual from Khalsa Aid. Khalsa Aid has got a lot of praise for all that it's managed to do, helping, well, hundreds and thousands of people across the world in different crisis situations. But Amarpreet Singh, country director, has worked with all these students from Kashmir. He'll be bringing us more details on that. But let's just start. Let's just break this down for you. What are we trying to do today? Well, we are trying to get down to understanding how is it that the CRPF has told NDTV today, exclusively giving us details of how, when it was supposed to have been grieving after 40 of its jawans had died, what were they doing? They were fighting fake news. We have learned from the CRPF that they actually were fighting. They were fighting fake news. What were they doing? In the moment of grief, they were fighting fake news. They were basically trying to debunk a flood of fake news that came post-Pulwama. The CRPF had to increase the strength of the team that was busting fake news post-Pulwama. 10 people within the CRPF team were working on this. Initially, they had only 3 and 4 because that's what is the team that handles social media for them. But they had to increase that to 10. 3 lakh strong people, they worked on different levels with the DIG level officer supporting them and supervising them. 3 lakh strong CRPF, that's the number of people in India. They all use their multiple WhatsApp groups to actually debunk fake news. After that, what we can say is that there was a very clear understanding about how to do it. They had a 3-pronged strategy to fight that fake news. They monitored fake news first on Facebook, WhatsApp and Twitter, and then they basically had that initial difficulty of trying to track the source of the fake news, particularly on WhatsApp, because that wasn't easy. On WhatsApp, to figure out who is really spreading fake news, not easy. So what they decided was, let's just try and tell people that this news is fake rather than find who is behind it. Later, they went into trying to discover who's behind it. And in the middle, they were also trying to analyze what is fake, what is not fake, what is true. They often had to sometimes even source information from the CRPF soldiers on the ground. Now, my colleague Nidhi Razdan also managed to speak to the DG CRPF who spoke to NDTV about steps being taken after the Pulwama terror attack, particularly about fake news, and he warned against inflammatory material being used after this attack because he said this is basically against the country.
The focus of the CRPF now will also be to build the capacity at diffusing and detecting IEDs better. You said, quote unquote, that there was a gap in this earlier, and this is something we need to improve upon. If you could sort of explain that, is that an area of weakness that we need to strengthen?
You see, we are working on improving we are strengthening our IED capabilities because IEDs were not being used much in the valley. It was last year that the IEDs have again started being used, and since the last 6 months we have been building up our capacity as far as IEDs are concerned. We are also training the J&K police. They are also increasing their capabilities of detecting and handling IEDs. So this effort is going on.
How the CRPF, in addition to dealing with the tragic loss of its own men, was also in the aftermath of this attack dealing with a flood of fake news, fake photographs, fake posts online, on Twitter, on Facebook, etc. The CRPF DIG and chief spokesperson in fact said that some of these posts were gory, others were filled with communal hatred, saying that these were almost an insult to our jawans. They did not lay down their lives so that their death could become a cause for communal hatred. Very strong words by him, and I just wanted to ask you about that, how your force is dealing with this phenomenon now of tackling fake news.
Even this loss will make our resolve even stronger, and therefore we had appealed to everyone that we should see that any kind of fake news, fake pictures, any other inflammatory material is not used. This is in the best interest of the country and also in the interest of the force.
All right, so you heard it there very clearly. Now, what has happened? Basically, CRPF Madadgar is a team of people who work in, and they've started since 2017 trying to help Jammu and Kashmiris, all of them. Now, what they did was they tweeted this. More than 250 Kashmiri students from Dehradun, Chandigarh, Delhi, etc. who had reached Jammu were provided food and then transported to Kashmir. So they made it very clear that Kashmiris who've come to Jammu are being transported to their various homes and villages within Jammu and Kashmir. That was the tweet that CRPF Madadgar had put out. We'll bring that up for you in just a bit. And after that, there was another advisory that came up. This is that one that I was talking about from CRPF Madadgar. But the main handle of the CRPF, that issued an advisory earlier, and that said fake news about harassment of students from Kashmir is being propagated by various miscreants. This is the one. This is saying that there is fake news, that there is harassment of students from Kashmir. So we asked the CRPF, why is it then that Kashmiri students are even going to back to their hometowns if there is fake news about harassment? You are saying that this is all fake news. So we found out that the CRPF is telling us that students actually panicked on hearing that fake news about harassment. They panicked. That's what they are saying. We'll bring that up for you again. The CRPF is saying that they panicked about that harassment. Now, we tried to find out more information about this. So we went to Khalsa Aid and we tried to find out from Khalsa Aid. Now, Khalsa Aid is acting as basically a point where they are getting these students from all across the country to Chandigarh particularly, and from Chandigarh they are transporting them to Jammu and subsequently back home with the CRPF's help, of course. So what Khalsa Aid told us was a tale of these Kashmiri students, that they had to leave not because they panicked, because there was a threatening flyer that led to these Kashmiri students returning home. Of course, we're not showing you that flyer because it's very inflammatory, and even because landlords were telling them to go back home, particularly in Dehradun. Now 250 students or so they transported, most of them were from Dehradun, and the landlords were telling them go back because you need to go back till the conditions normalize. Then there was also news, which was fake or not, that led to Kashmiri students heading home, and they headed home because basically there was a fear of backlash. Now Khalsa Aid, what has it done to know all of this? How do they even know this? Well, they say for the last 3 to 4 days they've been supporting the Kashmiri students. 250 students they have sent. 50 Kashmiri students are still to go and are going to be transported today. 150 of them from Dehradun. They've used private buses costing 1.5 lakh rupees. Kashmiri students have stayed in Gurdwaras. 4 female Kashmiri students also refused to go to J&K by road because of fear, and instead they were sent by flight. We also have a soundbite of them saying just this. So there's a lot that they did. 20 mini buses arranged, airfare in some cases, 3 teams of Khalsa Aid, Ambala, Dehradun and Chandigarh. So that is what we know. Now we also have information that we ourselves have sourced. What have we sourced? But let's just first listen to those who were taken by Khalsa Aid and helped by Khalsa Aid to Kashmir, Jammu particularly. All right, we'll get that back for you. But let's listen to let's just show you what information we have got. NDTV has also found information that there has been some kind of harassment from Ambala to Dehradun to Patna, and now the latest in West Bengal. So let's just start with Ambala. What has happened in Ambala? In Ambala, Kashmiris were harassed. These are visuals that you'll just see. But is this really harassment? Because this seems to be a protest. Does this then equate in a sensitive situation like this to harassment? Of course, that's a debate. But this is Ambala. Let's go to Dehradun now. This was a protest in Ambala. In Dehradun, there are visuals of students who are claiming that they've been harassed. Now, we don't know whether they've been harassed or not. Are they being harassed? This is still not clear. We're trying to get you that information. Then in Patna, what has happened? Well, in Patna, you had traders who were told to shut their shops and basically told to shut them down by 30 or so people who came and asked them to do so. Now, they were clearly harassed. Look at this. You can see this. But the latest incident that has come from today, this is quite shocking. The 26-year-old Kashmiri shawl seller who was beaten in Bengal's Nadia district. We're not showing you the pictures very clearly because it's just horrific. The video of that thrashing has gone viral, and this particular person has told NDTV that it was in an undisclosed location and that he just wants to go back home. And no, he doesn't want to go to Kashmir. He wants to go to the same town where he was slapped around. Omar Abdullah has also tweeted about this. We'll bring that tweet up for you. And he says that having seen the video doing the rounds on social media of a young Kashmiri man being beaten up in Kolkata. I've been in touch with Derek O'Brien and Mamta official regarding the matter. The culprits have been identified and strongest possible action has been assured. So let's just go across to my colleagues, Jency, who's tracking the situation now, and also Amarpreet, our guest, coming to us from Chandigarh. Jency, I will come to you in just a bit, but Amarpreet, if you can start by talking to us first. आप बताइए कि क्या हो रहा है, आपने कितने कश्मीरी स्टूडेंट से बात करी है, कितने आपको बता रहे हैं कि हाँ हम इस वजह से आए हैं और हमें हरासमेंट हो रही है?
बेसिकली फ्रॉम द लास्ट 3 days से हम लोग यहाँ पे चंडीगढ़ में काम कर रहे हैं और हमारी 2 टीमें, एक अम्बाला में और एक देहरादून में सिचुएटेड है और तकरीबन अभी तक हम 250 स्टूडेंट्स को जम्मू तक ट्रैवल करा चुके हैं। बिकॉज जो हरासमेंट की आप बात कर रहे थे, बेसिकली हरासमेंट भी उनके साथ हो रही है और सबसे ज़्यादा जो एक उनके जहन में, उन दिमाग में डर बैठ चुका है और उनके स्पेशली जो स्टूडेंट्स पीजी में रहते थे, स्पेशली जो जिन्होंने रेंट आउट किए हुए थे मकान, सो उनको उनके दिमाग में जो बातें बैठी हैं उनकी वजह से वो इतना इनसिक्योर फील कर रहे हैं कि वो अपने घरों से बाहर नहीं निकल रहे और उनके जो ऑनर हैं उनको बाहर जाने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं और उनके पास कोई चारा नहीं है। और हमने चंडीगढ़ में और यहाँ की जो गुरुद्वारा कमेटीज़ हैं उन्होंने उनके लिए दरवाजे खोले, उनको शेल्टर प्रोवाइड किया और खालसा की तरफ से उनको जो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन है वो सेफली उनको घर पे भेजने के लिए काम किया जा रहा है।
All right, Jency, I just want you to give us the bigger picture of what is really going on out here. There's been news that Kashmiri students have been harassed, and CRPF saying we don't have any cases of that happening to us, but clearly we have indicated that there is enough to reflect just that. And Kashmiri students are not speaking themselves because, of course, they fear, what will happen, the backlash if they do speak. So how do you look at this, as you've been trying to also decipher what is the truth and what is not?
So, Abhitoj, it's rather surprising that CRPF would say that there is no harassment happening and it is a form of fake news, because I would be a bit circumspect in using the word fake news when there are actually real cases of people telling us that there have been group of students who have been impacted by this, and we are seeing visuals of it, we are seeing images of it, and we are also, you also showed cases where people want to fly back and not even want to take the road towards the state because they are scared that they will be targeted. So this is a function of what is also happening on social media, because a lot of these videos and images are floating around. A lot of the angst against people of the state we are seeing on social media, and that is getting reflected in lumpen elements actually taking it down to the streets, going after students who are vulnerable because they don't really have anyone protecting them, and against shopkeepers in Patna, as we have seen some time back. And this is happening because a lot of this anger is being shown on social media, and that is floating around. I would like to mention here that on our helpline we did receive some videos where there are young men who are playing mischief by projecting themselves as members of a certain religion, and they are shouting slogans against India. Now this is a video that a cop sent to us, and he wanted to know where this is originating from. Unfortunately, we couldn't help him much on that, but we could at least give certain clues.
Are you saying that the police actually reached out to you
why we
and
thought that
asked
this is a mischief?
to find out the source of a video that was fake?
Yes, because he declared himself as a sub-inspector of a certain district in one of the northern states, and he was worried whether this is from his own location or not. But we told him that we still don't know where this has come from, because we are also trying to find out by using various tools whether this video has surfaced earlier or not. But what I was trying to say is, and what I told the cop as well, that this seems to be a mischief. Very clearly there are very telltale signs and clues in the video which can show that these boys were up to no good.
Alright, अमरप्रीत, आपसे मैं पूछना चाहूंगा 2 प्रश्न। पहला प्रश्न यह है कि सीआरपीएफ का क्या रोल है? सीआरपीएफ कह रहे हैं कि उनको तो पता नहीं है कि कितनी रिपोर्ट्स हैं हरासमेंट की, क्योंकि उन्हें कोई ऐसी रिपोर्ट नहीं आई है, उनके लिए ये फेक न्यूज़ है। पर वो कह रहे हैं कि कश्मीरी स्टूडेंट इसलिए आए क्योंकि वो पैनिक कर गए, जो उन्होंने न्यूज़ पे देखा या सुना, जहां पे भी देखा, उसकी वजह से वो पैनिक कर गए, इसलिए वो वापस आए। और दूसरा प्रश्न मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि जब आप कश्मीरी स्टूडेंट से मिले, वो क्या हरास्ड आपको दिख रहे थे? कैसे मिले आपसे वो?
सर पहला क्वेश्चन का मैं जवाब देना चाहता हूँ। जैसे आपने बोला कि सीआरपीएफ का जो बयान आया है वो सही कह रहे होंगे जो भी कह रहे हैं, लेकिन जो एक एंगल ग्राउंड जीरो का है वो पक्ष कोई भी नहीं दिखा रहा। हम सभी जगह की बातें कर रहे हैं, सभी जगह के न्यूज शो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो इफेक्ट, चाहे वो फेक न्यूज है चाहे वो रियल न्यूज है, लेकिन उसका इफेक्ट कहाँ पे पड़ रहा है? वो स्टूडेंट पे पड़ रहा है। उनको सिक्योरिटी देना, उनको सेफ फील कराना, ये हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। और उसके बाद जो गवर्नमेंट बॉडीज हैं, जो इंटेलिजेंस बॉडीज हैं, उन्होंने फाइंड आउट करना है कि अगर ये न्यूज फेक है और उनको बंद कैसे करवाना है, और अगर ये रियल न्यूज है इसका सोल्यूशन कैसे निकालना है। लेकिन अगर कोई जरूरत है जिसको, और जो मुसीबत में है, चाहे वो पैनिक है चाहे फेक न्यूज की वजह से पैनिक है, लेकिन उसको अभी घर पे भेजना सेफली वो गवर्नमेंट की जिम्मेवारी है। अगर गवर्नमेंट नहीं पूरी कर पा रही आज वो ड्यूटी, वो खालसा एड पूरी कर रही है।
No, but that's fantastic. You're right about that. Amarpreet, your entire team, Khalsa Aid, is doing a fantastic job, and I don't need to say this. The whole country is seeing that on social media, and you are getting a lot of acclaim for that. I'm sure Gen Z will also support what you're saying. But I wanted to ask you just about that other aspect. वो harassed जब वो आते हैं आपके पास, किस स्थिति में होते हैं, ये बताइए कश्मीरी स्टूडेंट्स के बारे में।
स्थिति में आपको ये बताता हूँ कि मेंटल लेवल उनका इतना डिस्टर्ब हो चुका है कि आज भी, कल रात को जो हमारे पास बैच 120 स्टूडेंट का देहरादून से यहाँ पे चंडीगढ़ में पहुंचा, उनमें 13 गर्ल्स थी, और उनमें से गर्ल्स में से 4 गर्ल्स ने डिनाई कर दिया कि हम तो बाय रोड जाएंगे नहीं। हम इतना इनसिक्योर फील कर रहे हैं कि चाहे जो भी हमारे साथ जाए या ना जाए, लेकिन हमने, या तो हम गुरुद्वारा में रुकेंगे या हमें बाय एयर भेजो। और हमें मजबूरी में उन 4 लड़कियों को बाय एयर जम्मू तक मूव कराना।
Alright, okay.
So आप सोच सकते हो, इससे अंदाजा लगा सकते हो, कोई हमें बता रहा है कि उसके
Amarpreet, the point is that हम अंदाजा नहीं लगाना चाहते। हम ये शो इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हम ये दिखाना चाहते हैं सच क्या है और झूठ क्या है, ये हम क्लियरली दिखाना चाहते हैं। अंदाजे की बात नहीं हो रही, पर आपने हमें कुछ तो दिखाया है, और अंदाजे से हमें लीड मिलती है और हम समझ सकते हैं कि क्या सच है और क्या नहीं है। थैंक यू। हम एक शॉर्ट ब्रेक लेंगे, उसके बाद विल बी बैक। यू वाचिंग इंडिया वर्सेस फेक न्यूज, डोंट गो एनीवेयर, दिस इज अ स्पेशल शो। Welcome back. You're watching India versus Fake News. Let's go straight across to a caller who believes and has been involved with us, has called us to basically say that yes, fake news is huge and we need to deal with it. And Ishan Suri, who's joining us from Manali, Himachal Pradesh, has a question for Jency Jacob. Go ahead, Ishan.
Yeah, hi, Mithil. So my question for Jency is very simple. That in a time when platforms like whether it's WhatsApp or Facebook or other social media platforms, they're clearly struggling to contain the spread of fake news, despite running awareness campaigns. WhatsApp is one of the largest ones currently. So what's a remotely democratic way to handle this situation without censorship, of course?
Jency, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So I think, first of all, we should not be considering WhatsApp as a source for understanding what is news. WhatsApp is not a source for news. This is something that I've been saying this at every workshop we do, that WhatsApp is only for you to communicate with your friends, with your family, with your relatives, but do not consider this as source of news. Secondly, any viral video that you see or image that you see on Facebook or on Twitter, as humans we are inclined to immediately touch, click the share button and push it out across. We don't realize, many times we say, not many people share from my timeline, but let's understand that there is a domino effect to it, and there are, so many people who are looking at what we are sharing on Facebook and on Twitter.
Right.
If we are a bit, careful about all these images and videos, and we say that let's go back and check if there are credible news outlets who have reported on it, otherwise I'm not going to share it, then we'll clearly have a situation where this kind of virality can at least be controlled.
All right, Jency, that's a great point. And also I want to make another point that we've already seen a precedent set by the High Court, which has basically made sure a politician who's forwarded news from WhatsApp is actually held guilty of basically trying to spread misinformation. I just want to go across now to Amarpreet to end the show. Amarpreet, one final question for you. आपने पुलिस को बताया या पुलिस ने आपको कुछ पूछा कि कश्मीरी स्टूडेंट्स को क्या हो रहा है, हरास क्यों हो रहे हैं, कभी भी पूछा?
नहीं, हमने पुलिस से रिक्वेस्ट की थी द डे बिफोर यस्टरडे, जब हमने पहला बैच चंडीगढ़ से जम्मू के लिए रवाना करना था। तकरीबन 10 मिनी बसेस हमने यहाँ से भेजनी थी, तो हमने उनसे सिक्योरिटी की पुकार की थी कि पंजाब गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, आप पुलिस की तरफ से हमें सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करो, बिकॉज ट्रांसपोर्टेशन हमने अरेंज कर दी है, लेकिन सिक्योरिटी की जिम्मेवारी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की बनती है, तो उन्होंने सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करके उनको ड्रॉप किया।
All right, Amarpreet, thanks so much. Amarpreet, thanks so much, and to all of your team, all of you who are doing a great job with Khalsa, continue to do what you're doing. And Jency, thanks so much for joining us. Also, Ishan, who joined us as a caller. You were watching India versus Fake News. We hope that we managed to debunk something for you, some form of miscommunication, misinformation. You're watching NDTV 24/7, the channel for elections, and also on the other side, the real news with Sonia Singh.